Loud. Okay, we're recording and we're live. Welcome, welcome everyone in my Memory Matters group. I'm Rena Kuski. I think you all know me by now. I'm a geriatric social worker and memory coach. I am so excited to be interviewing Mr. Rick Lelchuk. That's how you pronounce it, right? Lelchuk?
Lelchuk, perfect.
Okay. I don't know where we found each other. We found each other on Facebook. Rick has this really amazing group on Facebook called Suddenly a Senior. And I just love the work he's doing. He posts some really thought-provoking, interesting, and funny posts in his group. So if you're a senior and you're not in his group, you might want to join it. I'll put the link to his group underneath this video after we finish. So we're going to interview and talk to Rick about what he's doing for seniors. It's interesting, it's different, it's thought-provoking. And I love anyone that works with seniors, and I love all seniors. You all know that. Everyone makes fun of me that when I walk down the street, from a mile away, I could see there's two things I notice. One is a senior. I notice them because I love them. And then I also notice anyone that has twins because I have twins. So those are the two things that, that I'm looking for when I walk down the street, seniors and twins. And if it's senior twins, even better, but that's a rarity. It's rarely do I see seniors that are twins. But once in a while, I come across someone older who tells me they are a twin. They have a twin sister, twin brother, and that's always fun for me. So without further ado, welcome, Rick. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Rena. Appreciate it very, very much. Speaking to you from Central Florida, where it's absolutely beautiful today. And
Nice.
I live in an area, I think I mentioned to you, that is primarily a senior retirement community.
Mm-hmm.
It's seniors are definitely, it's a very special time in someone's life. We're kind of guided through life as children, as young adults, and then as adults, and even as middle-aged people. But when it comes to this part of life, this latter part of life, we don't have a lot of people who are guiding us as to what to think and what to do and how to make this the best part of our lives, because it's what we have available to us.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it's a privilege. The whole crux of the matter is that the Chinese got it right. A long time ago, there was a proverb, and it said, I'll read it specifically: man fools himself, he prays for long life, and then fears an old age. And it's so true. We get nervous and scared about what's happening as we get older. And I don't deal in any of the practical matters. So I don't talk about insurance. I'm not talking about medical or anything like that, or legal. It's mostly about the stress that aging causes. And, it is a stressful time in life, because we have from this time until our lives end, and what's going to happen in between. And it all happens up here.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Right there with the background. So,
I always like to quote Dr. Amen, who says, the fountain of youth is between our ears. The fountain of youth is between our ears, in our brains.
Absolutely. Well,
so let's start from the beginning. How did you get into this? What interested you, and what made you think about this? Tell us what you do and how you got into it.
All right, sure. So I grew up in Miami, Florida, and my family had moved there in 1955. And my 86-year-old mother decided to leave Miami after 55 years. Mm-hmm. She wanted to move up to Asheville, North Carolina, where my sister was, and be close to her. So kind of a funny way that happened, but we kind of heard it secondhand that she had taken an apartment up there and was going to sell the condo, pack up all of her furniture, and move up there. And knowing that she was 86, how much time did she have really left? And what we wanted to do, is my wife and I, is we moved to Greenville, South Carolina, which is about an hour south of Asheville. So we were close by, and we could spend time and visit with her during this latter part of her days. I wanted to prepare myself for the inevitability of her passing. So I joined hospice. I would spend time with people who were in the latter part of their lives, having conversations with them, being with them. Um, there's a group called the Death Cafe, which is kind of an interesting group where people get together and they actually talk about death and dying. And there's nothing to teach.
Wow.
It's just people getting together and having a conversation about something that we don't like to talk about.
That's interesting. I never heard of that.
Yeah, and it started in England and it's a global thing. If you look up the Death Cafe, I think it's deathcafe.com. There are local groups all over the world.
Wow.
And it's an interesting conversation. So I did that. I even looked into becoming a death doula. We have birth doulas. They have now something called death doulas where,
That's a new concept.
oh, well, the families, this it's a one-time occurrence and it doesn't happen, fortunately, very often. But a death doula kind of guides the family and the patient through the process. So I looked into doing that as well. I wanted to be prepared for, my mom.
Hmm.
So let's see, in 2016, she passed away, and my wife and I decided to come back to Florida. And I got to thinking about my life and the fact that I was in the latter part of my life, and I, I wanted to, I wanted to be aware of what was going on, and I started to do some reading, and did some more reading about the subject. And I realized that we don't talk about this part of life. And there really wasn't any place to go and have a conversation. And I didn't start the Death Cafe here. Um, and it started to develop into something that I wanted to share with people. I wanted people to express themselves, to be able to have the conversation, because what I learned with the Death Cafe was that when people had this conversation, when they talked about the ultimate, that they found new reason to be alive. And
Wow. Wow. Like
yeah,
new
it
meaning,
was,
new purpose.
yeah, it was purpose, and they realized that every day was precious, and I wanted to
Wow.
share that with everyone as well. So that's kind of how it all got started. And then I did a focus group here locally. It got some input and feedback. And I was teaching a course. I developed a course and I was teaching it live. And
Hmm.
then, of course, everyone knows what happened at the beginning of this year. So I spent the rest of this year converting it and putting it online. So,
Tell us a little bit about that course since you mentioned it. Tell us about it.
well, I lay some ground rules. We get to thinking about, what our lives are really all about, define the fact that we kind of live in two worlds, really. There's the exterior physical world, the world that we kind of don't have as much control as we think we do. Can't control the weather or politics, or you can't even control the guy behind you in the traffic. And then the other part is living within us in our inner world. And that's the area that I found that we really have a great deal of control, our thoughts and what we think about and how we react to things. And that's what I focus on primarily in the course is how do we approach this part of life and still be empowered and joyful over the fact that we did live a long life and we still are around to contribute.
So
So
what I'm hearing is I love, first of all, I love what you're doing. I think it's so meaningful. I hear also, like for me as a social worker, I keep thinking you are trying to break through that denial. There's a lot of denial of aging, whether it's in culture and society, like age defying stuff, or even anti-aging. I use the word anti-aging all the time, but
yes,
there's that in culture. And then there's the like personal, how we feel about it. It's, I don't want to get old. I don't want to get old. I don't, you hear a lot, like a lot of denial. And I think what it seems to me, what you're trying to do is in a very gentle and thoughtful and thinking, intellectual, intelligent, but also feeling way, sort of trying to confront, face some of that denial. Is that true?
of course. Yeah, I guess I'm a practical kind of guy. And this is life. This is a natural part of life.
Yeah.
We all had a turn at every part in the circle. You know, we were all children, we were, you know, young adults, we were teens, we had our turn at everything. And now for seniors, it's our turn to be at this point in life.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard because I think there's a lot of fear that is
Mm-hmm.
involved with aging, and in the
Yeah.
not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about some of the things earlier about, you know, there's my mom's body gave out. She was crystal clear right up to the very end. So her mental
Wow.
faculties were there. My wife's mother, on the other hand, her body held out for a long time, but she had the Alzheimer's, and you know,
Yeah.
it's we don't know what's going to happen, and we all have different experiences. We all come from different places. So, but there's a commonality in this time in life where we have things that we can share and that we share together.
Yeah. There's a lot in what you're saying here. I'm thinking I have several questions, but you actually brought up a memory for me as you were talking. I once was in a workshop about loss. It was a lady was doing. She's a social worker, and she was doing a workshop about loss and grief. And there were about 10 of us there, different ages, and she asked us a few questions. And she said, you know, if you were in control, if you had your druthers, um, how long would you want to live? At what age would you want to die? So I thought everyone would answer 100 to that, right? I mean, I answered 100. I had one grandmother live to 95 and one grandmother to 101. So I
Wow.
said I want to live to 100. My grandfathers actually died younger. My grandmothers lived very long. So I said 100. And I thought everyone would say that. And I was actually surprised. Everyone had their own experiences, their own perspective, their own thoughts and feelings on the matter. And some people didn't want to live as long because their experience was they saw people suffer a lot in old age and they didn't want to do that, or they saw illnesses that were prolonged and painful. So that really opened my eyes to perspectives on aging. Before we go further, I just want to invite anyone that's watching us on Facebook Live to please comment so that we know you're watching us. And feel free to ask any questions or put any thoughts in the chat. I'll be checking the chat in a minute. And if you're watching the replay, also just comment, hashtag replay so we know you're watching the replay. And thank you for joining us live for those of you that are with us.
And by the way, in the chat at the end, I'm going to put a couple of links and all, and I have a gift for everyone that's watching and those that are watching the replay. So there's a link to a gift that I've. There's an ebook there called
Fantastic.
the Unorthodox Guide to Aging.
Oh, the Unorthodox Guide to Aging. Thank you, Rick. Oh, I'm excited about that. That's a surprise for me too. That's a great surprise.
Yeah.
So I guess I want to ask you, what factors, in your opinion, what factors go into how people feel about aging? Like some people are just bitter and in denial and they don't want to face it, or just very bitter and like don't want to deal with it. And other people are so optimistic and joyful and hopeful. And this is my time to do everything I didn't have a chance to do until now. I've met both types of people, obviously, in my work. What factors do you think go into whether someone's that or that?
That's a tricky question, but I think it has to do a great deal with our experience in
Yeah,
life,
yeah, I
and
agree.
what we've experienced and what we've seen. Maybe we've seen a family member go through some hard times, and we don't want to go through that sort of thing. But we've always lived in uncertainty.
Yes.
We don't know what's going to happen, today, tomorrow, and we deal with that. Our psyche
Mhm.
deals with the unknown. So I think my job and my mission is to find those people who are open and willing to have a conversation about this part of life and are willing to take a look and be positive about it. Um, you know, it's the old horse to water thing. You can help a
Yes.
lot of people that are willing, but if they have this attitude that that's negative, then there's hard to be able to do anything for them. I really want people to be aware of the changes that are coming, because we can't predict what's going to happen. Listen, you deal in memory. We all walk into that proverbial room going, I came in
Right.
here, why?
Right.
I opened this browser window to go look for what? So I play a game with myself. I try and recreate. I said, I think to myself, it was just a second ago I was thinking about this. Where did it go?
Right.
So I play a little game with myself to reproduce what I was thinking, and 8, 9 times out of time, I'm able to catch the memory and the
That's
thought
great.
and keep going. So um,
Yeah, I
and
deal with that all the time. That's one of the big ones that I talk about, and it leads us into the focus. I have these. I don't know if you heard any of my webinars, but I do a webinar on 4 techniques to focus better, because we distract ourselves with our thoughts.
well, and we're going a mile a minute. I mean, heaven knows we've got so many distractions today with social media and the internet. Uh,
Exactly.
yeah, and the thing that's important, I think, to seniors is that we pull away from that sort of thing. That's a distraction for the work that I feel that we have to do, the internal work, um, to prepare ourselves to find our personal inner peace. And that's important at this time in life, especially. So
Yes.
in the course, we go through a couple of different things. We look at the past. We kind of try and clean up some regrets, things that
Mm-hmm.
have been nagging at us. There's a whole family of shame and regrets and disappointments that we need to, I'd like to see people clear out so that they're not thinking about that sort of thing. And then people don't really give themselves the acknowledgement of the accomplishments that they've had in life.
Oh, that is so important. Oh, such a good point.
Yeah, and we go through that to acknowledge ourselves. We all have some sort of a purpose. We've influenced people throughout our lives, and we don't give ourselves
100%.
that little pat on the back that we.
100%.
And then the final part is that we still have a future. We have something yet to live into, and we're still a contribution. My goodness, if nothing else, seniors have wisdom
Mm.
that usually doesn't get shared with the younger generations because, of course, when we were young, we knew it all. They know it all.
Yeah.
And it'd be great if seniors could hook up with younger people and let them, just chat about the wisdom that they've gotten through their experiences over the years. So
And
it's
I
a
want
big
to say,
subject.
go ahead, finish.
No, I say it's just a big subject.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You said a lot of things there. The last thing you said about giving to the younger generation from your life wisdom and life experience, it's so important. Each person has lived through so much, and sometimes we don't even realize what we've been through and how much we have inside until we are a little challenged. But the mentoring is a piece that I often use when I talk about training your brain and doing something good for your brain. Mentoring is actually really good for your brain, being a mentor to someone else. Why? Because you're challenging yourself, you're thinking, you're having a relationship, you're giving to someone else. So it's good for your brain, it makes you feel good, and you're helping someone else. So all around, I love that idea of mentoring. And we have to be creative finding ways to do it, because some of us are still locked in our houses. In certain places, depending where you live now. I think a lot of places are still, on lockdown. But, we still have telephones, and we still have Zoom, and we still have ways to communicate with people and to reach out to people. And I think the mentoring piece is huge. We each have so much to offer, and especially to the younger generation, that, is sort of anxious and also lonely. We think older people are the only ones that are lonely. It's not true. Younger people are also very lonely.
Yeah, it's very true. And it would be great to be able to mentor younger people. There's so many spokes to the wheel, so many things I'd like to be able to do, but one thing at a time. One of the funny things is that in creating the Suddenly a Senior workshop in the group, and then the umbrella is authentic aging, and the thought just went away.
Take a deep breath. It'll come right
Oh,
back to
that's
you.
so funny. What were we talking about? Oh, well,
It'll
we
come
should go on
back to
to
you.
something
Don't
else.
worry.
Yeah, okay. Listen, it happens. So we go.
Tell me more about your workshop. How many sessions is it?
It's a dozen sessions. They're short, relatively short. They're 6 to 8 minutes. It's all recorded, so it's a go at your own pace
Oh,
online. Um, I've 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 priced it so that it's not price is not a barrier right now. There's a 50% off special going on. Probably run that through the rest into January. Um, and then getting feedback from people as to what they've gotten out of it. So far, what people have said is that it's gotten them thinking about this part of their lives and how they can be optimistic about the rest of their lives. And um, the interesting thing that I find is that even though we come from different backgrounds, we have different experiences, our health situation is all different, we're all facing different things, there's still this commonality. There's still a way to look at our individual situations and give it a mental process that allows us to be empowered even in the face of anything that happens to us. So it's a bit of a challenge.
that's huge. No, that the goal that you just said is huge and incredible. Just um, tell us a little bit how do people go through an acceptance process? Like you said, the process of accepting our aging. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I can tell you from my experience
Mhm.
what I've looked at. Um, the real thing is coming to terms with, you look in the mirror that one day and you go,
Mm.
really? That can't be right. When did this happen? It's mostly a surprise
Yeah.
to seniors when they look in the mirror and they realize that most of their life is behind them already and they're fewer miles ahead. And again, it goes back to my being kind of a practical guy. What are you going to do about it? I
Hmm.
mean, you are the age that you are. You've had the experiences, you have the health conditions that you have. What can you do to find that little piece of inner peace for yourself
Hmm.
so that you can be with the rest of your days in a joyful manner, because it's the experience that we're supposed to have. I believe that each of us have had experiences that were, well, no, let me put it this way. We each have experiences that we're supposed to have and learn something from. And regardless of whether it's a bad experience or a good experience, there's something there for us to learn and to take away. So in the process, I've learned to accept the fact that there are little creaks, aches, the hair's all gray. Um, it's stiff getting out of bed on occasion. So it's the way it is. And I'm happy that I'm still here being able to provide. And I think, more important than anything else is having a purpose.
I
Even,
was just thinking the same thing.
yeah, yeah. It's so important that you have a goal, that you have something to live into.
Yeah. And even as we lose some functionality, let's say let's take this, a step further. Let's say someone can't even walk. Let's say someone's in a wheelchair.
Yep.
Do they still have purpose? Of course they do. There's
Of
still
course.
so much they can do, even if they can't walk. Now, is it a loss? Yes, it's a loss. Not taking away from the pain of not being able to walk, but um, there's still so much purpose, and it's I guess it's resilience, right? That helps people focus on that.
Oh, I love that word. And
Yeah.
we humans have tremendous resilience. Listen, we've made it this far. We have gotten through everything that life has thrown at us.
Yeah.
And whatever life is going to throw at us, we're going to go through and make the most out of it. So, or at least I'd like to see people make the most out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So just tell us some of the practical tools that you tell people through this process. Is it like I was thinking journaling. Like do you suggest that people journal some of their thoughts and feelings
Well,
and
That's all. I don't do that particularly, but I love the idea of journaling because it gets things from your mind out on,
Exactly.
physically write it out. So there's the
Yeah.
kinesiology, the kinetics
Yeah.
of it. What I do in the workshop after we've kind of laid some ground rules and gotten on the same page is, again, we look at this. I want to free people's minds up so that they can find their inner peace today. So
Hmm.
those things that have happened in the past that may still be in the back of your mind, that are still maybe annoying you, a regret or a disappointment, or why didn't I do this, or I haven't filled this on my bucket list. We want to clear that all out because sometimes at this point in life you can't do what you wanted to do when you were a younger person. So what are you going to do about it? You can rail against the world and be upset about it, or you can accept it and then find something to replace that so that you don't, you know, my wife loves dancing. I don't know why she married me. I'm not a dancer. So for her, she found line dancing, which she can go out and dance. It's
Amazing.
not
It's
the,
so
the
much fun.
yeah, well, it's not the dancing that she wanted, but she made a substitute
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
gets fulfilled in that fashion. So I encourage people to look at what their joys in life are,
Hmm.
and if it's not exactly like what you had intended, find what works given your circumstances, and apply that and make that happen. Um,
So for
Again,
some
we go
people,
back. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, and we go back to the accomplishments part.
Yeah.
I really do stress that because even if being a parent is an accomplishment, you brought people into the world, or maybe you won a three-legged race when you were a kid or something. There are all sorts of accomplishments that we've had in life, and we just don't pat ourselves on the back sufficiently and boost that ego of ours to make us
100%.
feel better
100%.
about our life. And then looking toward the future, it goes back to those dreams and desires. Like I said, you want to substitute. If you're not going to climb Mount Everest, then go find a small mountain to climb.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
I love it. Such a good perspective.
yeah.
And with the hobbies, I'll just tack on to that. I always tell people do something that you've always wanted to do and didn't have time for. So it could be learning a musical instrument, it could be a new language. People say, oh, I always wanted to learn German or Russian or Yiddish, and I just never had time. Well, now's the time. You can do it for free online, or a musical instrument. Both of these things happen to be very good for your brain. Music and languages happen to be super good for your brain. But they're also fun and they're also interesting. Or maybe one of the creative hobbies. Let's say people say, oh, I always want to take up knitting or crocheting, but I just never had time. Now's the time and enjoy it. And I don't know. I sort of sometimes get jealous of people that are retired because like you get to do whatever you want.
It's your time to fill, and that's one of the things that I advise people, that as you retire, your time was guided by your job in the past.
Mhm.
And now it's your time to fill,
Yeah.
and you want to fill it with the things that make you happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and
Exactly.
I like people. I really do want people's points of view to shift from this fear-based uh, looking at aging to a completely 180 different degrees difference into making it the best time of your life.
Yeah. Rick, I'm actually going to read some comments. We got some really good comments in here. We have a bunch of people watching us live. We have 11 people watching us live right now. I'm just going to read some of the comments. Okay. Let's see. Hi from Odeon. My father at 96, as sharp as a tack, decided he was done and stopped eating and drinking after a long discussion with me and my siblings. He went very peacefully. How unusual is that? I see friends' parents in terrible shape, mentally and physically, who refuses to have the discussion and who are terrified of death. Well, I think that's what we're trying to do here, right, Rick? We're trying to help people have that discussion, and not be so terrified of death.
It's
But
something that's so natural, and there have been so many people to have gone before us, then nobody's come back to complain about it. So
exactly.
uh, it's it's a challenge to be able to get people to accept the inevitability. I find I'm very attached to this life. This is
Yeah.
what we know.
Yeah.
And when it's the possibility of it being taken away from us is kind of upsetting. And
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we worry about the time between now and when our life is over. And I want to take that worry away from people so that they can live every day, every moment, and get the
Mm-hmm.
most out
Mm-hmm.
of it so that it's the best.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just looking at the comments. Linda Ray Schreiber wrote, "So powerful for me. Just lost my dad." Okay, we're sending you our greatest love. Um, we have people here from Boston and from Florida and from New York. Wow, we have a lot of people here joining us from different places. Susan says, "It's tough if you're not so happy with how things worked out in the various life stages." Right. That's the regrets part that Rick was talking about. No,
Exactly.
you can't change things and not a whole lot of time to change course. Okay, Rick, you want to talk about that? You mentioned regrets and sort of feeling like not so happy with the way things worked out. Let's talk about that.
There's something in everybody's life that they wish they had done differently. Everybody.
Yeah.
I, we all have that. So life's experience has turned out the way it was. It's unfolded exactly the way it's supposed to have unfolded. And not every one of us, well, I should say, every one of us has a different experience of life.
Yep.
And to shun that, for that to be, oh, every part of our life is there for a purpose
Yep.
to experience, and every piece of it is for our experience. And everybody's experience is different. And in looking at that, it's finding the awareness and the acceptance of this is how it's turned out, and what did I learn, and I can't go back and change it. It is what it is. So what can I take from it? What can I share with others? What can I provide as for a mentor? Here's my experience. Let me share with you what I learned.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
definitely a challenging question. It's a great question. Um, and I do deal with it in the course.
Yeah. But I'm just thinking about counseling and therapy. You're not a counselor, right?
Nope.
Do you, if some people are really having a hard time with some of this, do you recommend them to go for counseling?
I would. I'm not a professional in that sense, so I don't pretend to play one on TV either.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would. If you're really really struggling, I would seek out counseling with either someone in your religious faith or a professional. Uh, don't do it alone.
Yeah.
You
Thank
know,
you.
you
That's,
want to get
thank you.
past
I
this so
agree.
that you can see the joy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of help and support available out there. You don't have to suffer alone.
Nope.
There's so many places and resources for help, support, validation, just talking it out. Sometimes just getting it out of you is so powerful, and just having someone really doing some good listening can really take you far.
Yep.
And and also just helping you sometimes, whether it's shifting your perspectives or working through the feelings. I would not underestimate that. And even if someone's 70 or 80 doesn't mean that they're too old to go for counseling or therapy. I'm a big fan.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And listen, we're in my area here with a tremendous number of retirees. We see them, from the people who are recluse and
Yeah,
alone to those that are out, they're out line dancing every night.
yeah,
It's the
great.
whole gambit. But
I think, yeah, I think what we're saying is that we get to choose how we age. We don't have to follow a script. We don't even have to follow our own script that's been in our head for 50 or 60 or 70
excellent point.
years.
Yep.
We
Yep.
get to choose, and we also get to rewrite it. So if I thought that I had to be old and disabled and lone, I get to say, nope, I can be line dancing every night. I can be learning a new language. I can be doing Rick's course and changing my perspectives. I could be doing Rena's course and learning so much about memory. I'll talk about my stuff in a minute. Rick, you have so much to offer, so much support, so much um, awareness. And I think it's so, so special. It's such a great niche and it's so meaningful, so, so meaningful. I'm personally touched by what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you and with our audiences,
Tell
and this,
people how to get in touch with you. Your website.
I'm going to post this in my
Okay.
chat. Let me see. I wrote a little something out. Let's see if we can do this.
Um, okay, but you don't want to put it in the Zoom chat because no one's going to see it. You want to put it on the. Well, you know what we'll do? We'll post it under this video in my group.
Okay. All right.
Afterwards, after we finish, we'll put Rick's website and whatever you want, Rick, you can post in my group under this video in the comments below, and
Very
then
good.
people will
Very
see
good.
it.
And don't forget, there is that gift there. There's the ebook, the Unorthodox Guide to Aging,
Great,
which
that's
is kind of a
amazing.
fun, interesting look. And then there's the 12 rules for seniors, which I've left open for 13, 14, 15, all sorts of rules and
Oh,
stuff.
that's something that you put together?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. It's fun
Okay.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so we will share those links in the comments below this video. And I really, really appreciate what you're doing. And I wish you a lot of luck with it. And I'm so grateful that we got to collaborate in this
Yes.
way.
I am so grateful for your reaching out to me and letting me do this today.
Yeah.
And Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to just talk 1 second about what I'm offering as well for anyone that's interested from either of the groups. Like, we have a really nice audience here between both of our groups, Rick. So we get to share members, which is so much fun. So I just launched a membership program. It's called Remembership. And every week you get a short video with a memory tip or strategy or exercise and a brain exercise that you can do. And the video and exercise you do whenever you want. It's very convenient. And then once a month, we hop on a group live coaching call where I answer your questions. And this goes on for 12 weeks. And it's a membership and it's very cheap. It's $37 a month and it's going up on Friday. So anyone in my group that is seeing this, I've been posting all about Remembership. That's what it is. It's a membership program. You watch the videos whenever you want. You do the brain exercises when you want. It's stimulating. It's fun. It's interesting. I already have a lot of members that have joined and they are loving it, loving it. And I'm
Sounds really
excited because
rewarding.
I've spent about 3 months working on this. So it's much smaller, cheaper than my full course, which is an 18-hour course. And I hope to offer that in a couple months. But for now, this is just a chance to follow me and get some really, really, really good, practical, doable tips and strategies. And it's just like bite size. The videos are very short and it's really fun and doable. And it's geared for seniors. That's what I do. And I will put the link. Anyone who's in my group, you've seen the link 100 times by now, but I'll put the link again for Remembership. And you're welcome to join. Price goes up on Friday. So you double. I'm doubling the price on Friday because it's really valuable. So if you're thinking about doing Remembership, just do it. You won't regret it. It won't be one of your regrets. And we'll put all the links for both of our stuff. And I want to thank everyone who watched us live. And before we go, I'm going to take one more look at the comments and just see if anyone else posted anything. 1 second. Okay, there's a couple more comments here. Susan says, No, wait, we did that. We did that. Hold on. Okay, Mary Lou was replying to Jessica, so I'm not going to read that. Okay, I think we covered the important comments. But
Super.
everyone, feel free to put more comments under this video. Rick and I can address them if anything else comes up, and you can reach both of us in our groups and on Facebook. So I want to thank all of you for watching, whether you're watching live or the replay. I hope you gained something. I think this was very thought-provoking. And Rick, thank you so much for joining me.
Rena, appreciate it.
Yes, and Happy New Year's to everyone. May this year bring health and happiness and strength and purpose to everyone.
Amen.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to end. Okay, stop the live stream. I'm turning off the recording.